In 2004, 5 girls vanished from their cabin at a summer camp in North Carolina. They'd been giggling past midnight, braiding each other's hair, sharing forbidden candy under their blankets. By dawn, only their friendship bracelets remained, arranged in a star pattern on the floor. No screams, no struggle, no footprints, just an empty cabin and a counselor who swore she'd checked on them at 3 a.m. The girls were Emma Sullivan, 13, the group's fearless leader who wore her mother's old camp shirt; Madison Torres, 12, everyone called her Maddie, the athlete who'd won every camp competition; Sophia Chen, 12, brilliant but shy, constantly scribbling poetry in her purple journal; Isabella Martinez, 11, the dancer who practiced ballet even on hiking trails; and Olivia Thompson, 10, the youngest, desperate to fit in, who'd lied about her age to bunk with the older girls. Blue Mountain Girls Camp had welcomed daughters and granddaughters of former campers since 1963 without a single serious incident until that night, August 8, 2004. Location: Blue Mountain Girls Camp, Transylvania County, North Carolina. The morning sun filtered through the cabin windows when Counselor Rebecca Palmer pushed open the door to Cabin 7 at 6:45 a.m. She expected resistance, 5 groggy girls refusing to get up for morning swim. Instead, she found 5 perfectly made beds, hospital corners sharp enough to cut, as if no one had slept there at all. But evidence of the girls remained everywhere else: Emma's inhaler on the nightstand, essential for her asthma; Maddie's lucky softball glove hanging from her bedpost; Sophia's journal, closed with a bookmark on page 47; Isabella's point shoes placed precisely under her bed; Olivia's secret stash of letters from home, hidden but visible under her pillow. And on the wooden floor, in the exact center of the cabin, 5 friendship bracelets arranged in a perfect star. Each girl had been wearing one the night before. They'd made them together that afternoon, a camp tradition, swearing to be friends forever. Rebecca's scream brought the entire camp running. Within minutes, counselors were searching every building, every trail, the lake, the woods. The camp director, Patricia Hoffman, a former FBI agent who'd retired to run her childhood camp, immediately recognized this wasn't a prank. The precision, the staging, the bracelets, someone had taken time, been methodical. By 8 a.m., local police arrived. By noon, the FBI had taken jurisdiction. Special Agent Jonathan Cross, who'd worked 18 child abduction cases, noted something immediately wrong. The cabin windows were painted shut, camp policy after an incident in the 1990s. The only entrance was the door, which Rebecca had locked from the outside at lights out, 10 p.m. She'd checked at 3 a.m. through the window, seen 5 lumps in sleeping bags, heard soft snoring. But here's what made investigators' skin crawl. Under ultraviolet light, the forensics team found child-sized handprints on the inside of the door, dozens of them, overlapping, desperate, but no fingerprints. Someone had wiped them clean, leaving only the outline of small palms pressing against wood. The girls had tried to get out. The search expanded rapidly. 800 volunteers, trained dogs, helicopters with heat sensors. The camp sat on 400 acres of dense forest, surrounded by national parkland. If someone had taken them deeper into the wilderness, they could be anywhere within thousands of square miles. Then came the first real clue. A camper from Cabin 5, Jessica Wright, age 11, came forward on day 2. She'd been up at 2 a.m. sneaking to the bathroom. She'd seen someone she thought was the camp nurse, Mrs. Garrett, leading the Cabin 7 girls toward the Arts and Crafts building. They were walking in a single file, silent, like they were sleepwalking. Jessica had hidden, afraid of getting in trouble for being out after lights out. But Mrs. Garrett, when questioned, had been in the infirmary all night with a camper who had food poisoning. 3 witnesses confirmed it. Security footage from the infirmary entrance proved it. Someone had been impersonating her. Same build, similar hair, wearing what looked like nurse scrubs in the darkness. Agent Cross pulled every personnel file, every visitor log, every delivery receipt from the past 3 months. One name appeared once and shouldn't have. Dr. Catherine Foster, a child psychologist who'd supposedly evaluated the camp's counseling program in June. But Blue Mountain had never requested an evaluation. No one remembered authorizing her visit. September 15th, location, FBI Field Office, Asheville, North Carolina. The search for Dr. Catherine Foster revealed she didn't exist, at least not as a psychologist. The credentials were forged, the references fake, the address a vacant office building. But the photograph from her visitor pass matched someone else entirely. Ruth Donnelly, a former camp counselor from Blue Mountain who'd been fired in 1987 for inappropriate attachment to campers. Ruth Donnelly's dismissal file told a disturbing story. She'd selected certain girls each summer, showered them with attention, called them her special daughters. Parents complained she was overstepping boundaries, trying to maintain contact after camp ended. The final straw came when she was found in a camper's cabin at 3 a.m., sitting on the floor watching the girls sleep. But Ruth Donnelly had supposedly died in 1999, car accident in Tennessee, body burned beyond recognition, identified by jewelry and dental records. Agent Cross ordered the grave exhumed. Inside the coffin, rocks, dirt, and someone else's cremated remains purchased from a medical supply company. November 2004 to October 2021, the silent years. The case consumed everyone it touched. Emma's mother quit her job, devoted her life to searching. Maddie's parents divorced, each blaming the other for letting her go to camp. Sophia's family moved back to China, unable to bear the memories. Isabella's father became an alcoholic, lost his practice, died in 2009. Olivia's grandmother, who'd raised her after her parents died, aged 20 years and two, spent her savings on private investigators who found nothing. Blue Mountain Girls Camp closed immediately, never reopened. The land was sold to developers who found no buyer willing to build where 5 girls had vanished. The cabins rotted, the lake filled with algae, the trails disappeared under kudzu and blackberry vines. Every year on August 8th, someone left 5 friendship bracelets at the camp entrance. Different colors each year, but always 5, always in a star pattern. Police watched, installed cameras, but never caught anyone. The bracelets appeared between 3 and 4 a.m., the same window when the girls had disappeared. December 3, 2021. Location: FBI Headquarters, Washington, D.C. An envelope arrived addressed to Agent Cross, who'd never stopped working the case, even after retirement. Inside, a USB drive containing a single video file. The timestamp showed August 8, 2004, 3:47 a.m. The location was clearly Blue Mountain, but not the camp itself, somewhere deeper in the forest. 5 girls sat around a camping lantern, still in their pajamas, looking dazed but unharmed. A woman's voice, soft and maternal, spoke from behind the camera. "Tell me your new names, daughters." One by one, in voices thick with sleep or drugs, they responded: Sarah, Rebecca, Maddie, Catherine, Sophia, Michelle, Isabella, Jennifer, Olivia. The video ended with the woman saying, "Good, your old families didn't deserve you, but I do. Mother knows best." The FBI tech team traced the USB drive's digital fingerprints. It had been purchased at a Walmart in Knoxville, Tennessee, in 2021, paid in cash. Security footage showed an elderly woman, approximately 70 years old, gray hair, walking with a cane. Her face was partially obscured, but gait analysis matched Ruth Donnelly at 97% probability. December 10, 2021. Location: Great Smoky Mountains, Tennessee. Following a trail of small purchases, groceries, camping supplies, children's clothing in teenage sizes, the FBI focused on a remote area of the Smoky Mountains. Satellite imaging revealed structures that shouldn't exist, buildings deep in protected parkland, accessible only by foot trails, invisible from the air except through specific infrared signatures. The tactical team assembled at dawn, December 12. The hike took 4 hours through unmarked wilderness. They found a compound, 3 cabins, a garden, solar panels, a sophisticated water filtration system. Someone had been living off-grid for 17 years. In the main cabin they found them, 5 young women, aged 27, 26, 25, and 24. They were sitting at a breakfast table, eating oatmeal, dressed in handmade clothes that looked like they belonged to a different century. When the agents entered, they didn't run. They looked confused, then frightened, not of the agents but of something else. "Is Mother safe?" the one who'd been Emma asked. Did something happen to Mother? They had no memory of being abducted. In their minds, they'd been rescued. Their before families had been abusive, neglectful, dangerous. Mother had saved them, raised them, homeschooled them, protected them from a world that would hurt them. They could recite detailed histories of abuse that never happened, neglect that existed only in carefully planted memories. DNA confirmed their identities, but the young women didn't believe it. Even when shown photographs of their real families, they insisted these were the people who'd hurt them. Ruth Donnelly had 17 years to rewrite their histories, and she'd been thorough. But here's the most disturbing discovery. The compound had a nursery. 3 babies, all under 2 years old. DNA testing revealed something that made even hardened agents step outside. The babies were the biological children of the 5 women, but none of them remembered being pregnant or giving birth. In their constructed memories, Mother had found these babies, saved them like she'd saved the girls. Ruth Donnelly wasn't at the compound. The women said she'd left 3 days earlier for supplies, something she did monthly. She always returned within a week. They weren't worried. Mother always came back. She'd promised never to abandon them like their before families had. A manhunt spread across 3 states, but Ruth Donnelly, now 74, had vanished as completely as she'd made 5 girls vanish 17 years earlier. She'd left the compound 3 days before the USB drive was delivered, knowing exactly what would happen. December 20, 2021. Location: various hospitals across Tennessee. The 5 women were placed in psychiatric care, but integrating them back into society proved nearly impossible. They'd spent their entire adolescence and adult lives in an isolated fantasy. Emma, now called Sarah for 17 years, had been taught she was Mother's biological daughter. She'd been groomed to take over, to be the next mother when Ruth died. The reunion attempts were heartbreaking. Parents who'd searched for 17 years faced daughters who looked at them with fear and suspicion. Maddie accused her mother of trying to poison her when offered her favorite childhood food. Sophia spoke only in a dialect Ruth had taught them, a mixture of English and invented words. Isabella believed her father had died years ago. Ruth had shown her fake newspaper clippings. Olivia didn't remember her real name at all. The 3 babies were placed in foster care while courts decided their fate. The 5 women begged to keep them but legally couldn't care for children while under psychiatric hold. They didn't understand they were the mothers. Ruth's programming had been that complete. January 15, 2022. Location: Federal Courthouse, Asheville, North Carolina. During a competency hearing, Emma Sarah revealed something that changed the entire investigation. Mother hadn't worked alone. There was Uncle David who brought supplies, Aunt Jennifer who helped with medical care, and others who visited over the years. The compound was part of something larger, a network Ruth called the family. People who believed modern society was corrupting children and that saving them meant taking them. The FBI database matched Uncle David to David Marsh, another supposedly deceased camp counselor from the 1980s. Aunt Jennifer matched Jennifer Reeves, a pediatric nurse who'd lost her license in 1995 for attempting to falsify adoption papers. They were all connected through an online forum that appeared to discuss wilderness therapy but was actually coordinating child abductions across the country. March 2022 to present day. Ruth Donnelly was found dead in a cave 12 miles from the compound, having died of exposure approximately 2 weeks after leaving. She'd left behind journals detailing everything: how she'd stalked the camp for months, chosen girls with specific vulnerabilities, used a mild paralytic agent to make them compliant that night. She'd spent 17 years creating an elaborate false reality, convinced she was saving them from a corrupt world. The 5 women remain in treatment. Only Emma has shown signs of breaking through the programming, experiencing flashes of real memories. The others still insist their real families are dangerous. They write letters to Mother that can't be delivered, asking when they can come home. The 3 children were adopted by families who will never tell them their origins. Somewhere in their DNA is a story too dark for childhood, born from mothers who don't remember them, fathered by someone the women only remember as bringing supplies. Epilogue: August 8, 2023. On the 19th anniversary of the disappearance, something unprecedented happened. Sophia Chen, who'd been silent for 2 years, suddenly spoke in perfect Mandarin to her psychiatrist. "I remember my real mother. She used to sing me a lullaby about moonlight." It was the first crack in Ruth's programming, proof that somewhere inside, the 5 girls who'd laughed in Cabin 7 still existed. The campground is being turned into a memorial. 5 trees planted in a star formation, 1 for each girl lost and woman found. But locals say on foggy mornings, you can still hear it. The sound of girls giggling, friendship bracelets jangling, the whisper of friends forever carrying through the mountains. The FBI estimates at least 12 more compounds exist, run by the family network. Somewhere in America, more children live in constructed realities, believing lies so complete they've replaced truth entirely. The search continues, but for Emma, Maddie, Sophia, Isabella and Olivia, the search ended in the strangest possible way. They were found but remain lost, saved but still captive, free but forever imprisoned by 17 years of love that was never love at all.